Hey there, and welcome to our explainer. Today, we're building a visual lexicon for psychiatry. We're going to untangle the terms we hear all the time, but maybe don't fully get, bringing a little order to the whole conversation around mental health. Let's dive in.
So, have you ever heard words like OCD, bipolar, or psychotic thrown around in a conversation and just felt kind of lost? If you have, you are so not alone. These are real clinical terms that get so misunderstood, which makes it really tough to have a clear, helpful talk about mental health.
And yeah, it can definitely feel like this. Just a total maze of words, a jumble of labels that don't seem to have clear lines between them. But what if we could untangle this mess? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to build a clear foundation, one core idea at a time.
All right, so we're going to start with the absolute fundamentals, the building blocks of psychiatric language. Seriously, once you get these core ideas, the whole bigger picture starts to make a lot more sense. Okay, first up, a symptom. The easiest way to think about a symptom is as a single piece of a puzzle. It could be a physical thing, like a racing heart, or an emotion, like a sudden wave of sadness. It's just one clue.
Now, a syndrome is when a whole bunch of those individual clues start showing up together in a really recognizable pattern. It's not the single star, it's the whole constellation. And here's what's super important in psychiatry. A syndrome describes this cluster of symptoms even when we don't have one single, fully understood cause. That is key.
This is the perfect way to see the difference. A single puzzle piece, your symptom, doesn't really give you the full picture, does it? But when you start putting those pieces together, you get the finished puzzle, the syndrome. A single cough is a symptom. The common cold with the cough and the sneezing and the sore throat, that's the syndrome. Okay, next up, affect. Affect is what's right there on the surface. It's the emotion you can actually see on someone's face or hear in their voice in any given moment. You know, that quick flash of a smile, a sudden frown. It's immediate, and you can observe it.
Mood, on the other hand, is more like the underlying emotional current. It's way more sustained than affect. It's not just a fleeting moment of sadness, but that low-grade feeling of gloom that might just hang around for an entire afternoon. Or, even for days.
The absolute best analogy for this is weather versus climate. Affect is the weather. It can change in an instant. A brief rain shower, a little burst of sun. Mood is the climate, that overall pattern over time, like a long rainy season. Your affect can change minute by minute, but your mood is the emotional backdrop to it all.
Now, let's take these ideas and apply them to one of the most common and commonly misunderstood areas, anxiety.
This chart does such a great job of putting things in perspective. Look, we all get everyday stress, that feeling before a big presentation, right? But clinical anxiety, that's way more intense and persistent. And then you have a panic attack, which is just an overwhelming 10 out of 10 all-consuming experience. It's not just a different feeling, it's on a completely different scale.
Breaking down a panic attack like this really helps demystify it. It often kicks off with a sudden trigger, which leads to this intense physical surge. And this isn't just being really nervous, it's a powerful physiological response that peaks incredibly fast. Understanding these stages helps us see it not as some kind of personal failing, but as a biological process that, thankfully, does eventually resolve. So, we've defined some key terms, but why does any of this matter? Well, in this final section, we're going to see why getting the language right is a huge step towards wellness for everyone.
This quote just gets right to the heart of it. When we say something like, the weather is so bipolar today, we're erasing the profound, life-altering experience of someone who actually lives with bipolar disorder. That casual comment, it makes their reality feel trivial, and it can make it so much harder for them to feel seen.
So why does this matter so much? Because precise language has this amazing ripple effect. It chips away at stigma, which makes it easier for people to actually ask for help. It makes the conversations between doctors and patients way better, leading to better care. And ultimately, when we all share an accurate vocabulary, we empower each other and build a more supportive, understanding community. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. By choosing our words with a little more care and understanding,